The Galaxy S Plus is probably the least popular device of the Galaxy S trio, but it has its fans. It caters to those who want a bigger Galaxy S screen and don't want to overpay for ultra features they will not use. Today, we will be meeting with the Galaxy S24 Plus, which finally returns to its former glory with a Quad HD display. Indeed, this has to be the biggest change since the Galaxy S21 series. The Galaxy S24 Plus brings back the 1440 pixels OLED display we last saw on the Galaxy S20 Plus in 2020. And it's as premium of a panel as it can get. A 6.7-inch LTPO dynamic AMOLED 2X screen with 513 ppi, 120 Hz dynamic refresh rate, HDR10 Plus and up to 2600 nits of peak brightness. The refreshed design is the next thing on the list of upgrades. The aluminum frame is now tougher, flatter and all matte. This makes the Galaxy S24 Plus look new and feel new too. Just like the Galaxy S24, the S24 Plus hardware varies depending on the market. The global models employ the Exynos 2400 chip with a 10-core CPU and new AMD graphics, while the US, Canada and China models run on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The S24 Plus is available in 256 GB and 512 GB variants, both with UFS 4.0 chips and 12 GB of RAM. The camera system is identical to the one on the Galaxy S24, S23 Plus and S23. There are 3 cameras on the back, a 50MP OIS primary, a 10MP 3x telephoto and a 12MP ultra-wide. The front camera is a 12MP shooter with autofocus and 4K capturing. The Galaxy S24 Plus specs also include ultra-wideband, UWB support, and a larger 4900 mAh battery with 45-watt wired and 15-watt wireless charging. While the vanilla Galaxy S24 is more or less a simple incremental upgrade over the S23, we would say that this year the S24 Plus brings a bit more to the table. An argument can be made that it is now closer to the Ultra than ever. The S24 Plus gets its QHD resolution back. Not to mention that the new panel is both slightly bigger and much brighter than last year. Gone are the 8 GB of RAM from last year. The S24 Plus gets 12 GB across the board. The battery has grown notably in capacity and now, at 4900 mAh, is almost as much as the S24 Ultra has. And sure, Samsung could have graced the S24 Plus with a better or at least higher resolution telephoto this year so that it could pull off impressive digital zooms on top of the optical one. But other than that, and of course the S Pen and a few other smaller things like Wi-Fi 7, the Galaxy S24 Plus is almost all the way there to an Ultra this year. To quickly fire off some other upgrades for 2024, we have moved to the stronger and more scratch-resistant Armor Aluminum 2 material for the now matte middle frame. And that's on top of the excellent IP68 and dual-sided Gorilla Glass Victus 2 protection carried forward. Gorilla Glass armor does remain an S24 Ultra exclusive this year. Of course, we can't fail to mention the allure of 7 years of software support and One UI 6.1. It offers a nice incremental step up when it comes to general functionality, even if you ignore the major Galaxy AI injection, which admittedly is still an acquired taste for most users, and will take some refinement and normalization before becoming an unquestionable and established value add. Now slightly louder, the hybrid stereo speaker setup remains a highlight of the multimedia experience. The same goes for the solid and versatile camera setup. Samsung didn't make any sweeping changes in this department, but arguably didn't need to either. As for the whole chipset situation, we see how returning to a 2-chip segmented approach rubs many people the wrong way. We acknowledge that Samsung's own Exynos parts have a pretty bad reputation, deserved at least in part. Still, from our first batch of testing the Exynos 2400 variants of the Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus, we can at least say that this year, the Exynos 2400 does seem pretty close in overall performance to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. We are not particularly impressed with how the Exynos-equipped S24 and S24 Plus handle heat over time. While the thermal throttling is still perfectly reasonable, We are interested in seeing how the Snapdragon variants of these devices fare in the same department, once we eventually get the chance to test those out as well. That, however, might be a bit of a comparison for scientific purposes, only since most people won't get the chance to pick and choose their chipset. Plus, at least from an experience standpoint, there doesn't appear to be any major difference one way or the other. All things considered, there is a lot to like about the S24 Plus. With its QHD display, 12 GB of RAM, and 7 years of software updates, it arguably makes more sense than its S23 Plus predecessor. Then again, the Plus has never really enjoyed much attention from buyers, which is unlikely to change. While you definitely won't be disappointed in any way by picking up a Galaxy S24 Plus, there might be better options to consider.